HIM is the men's workshop that we do. HIM is an acronym. It stands for Honor, Integrity, and Mastery. And for the men, that is what is missing, not only on a personal level, but it's missing in our marriages, it's missing in our relationships with our children, it's missing in our relationships to our careers and our lives. And so ultimately, society as a whole suffers when men do not live an honorable life, when they're not in line with, when their actions are not in line with their words and their inner truth, if you will, then there is a break in the integrity of the holistic being that is a human being. We are holistic beings. We live in a universe, meaning a universe means one word, right? Verse means word. Uni, one word. So we share a universe that is made up of individuals that collectively are a part of the whole. So why am I going there? Because when you break your integrity and your honor, you break away from that holistic, that whole consciousness that is ultimately for your good. It's for your good. It's for the good of the greater being, or it is for the greater good. And so when you break away from that, you suffer. You suffer aloneness, you suffer depression, you suffer isolation, you suffer anger, frustration, powerlessness. There's a loss of power the moment you break away from your own internal integrity, the moment you break away from your own internal honor. Now, this is even more true with men than it is for women, for a number of reasons that we may or may not have an opportunity to go to in this particular show, because I wanted to talk to you about a whole other subject in this show. But by way of explaining to you, or interesting you, hopefully, in the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery workshop, gentlemen, all of the mental, emotional, psychological, and often physical pain, diseases, heart diseases, cancers, can be traced back to a source where a human being, a person, and again I'm saying this particularly for men, has broken away from their own sense of internal honor and integrity. Once that happens, there is a loss of power, and once there is a loss of power, then we begin to behave in ways that either become forceful, manipulative, dishonest, and further separate ourselves from the wholeness, the integrity, and the well-being. In other words, it costs you your vitality, it costs you your well-being, it costs you your self-respect, it costs you the respect and honor of others, and ultimately it costs you your standing in society, and that of course will cost you financially, and it costs you in every possible way. So the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery workshop is about regaining that sense. You know, it's not because you fall out of honor or that you break your integrity that you're lost forever, and yet that's something that the mind will do for itself. When you go far enough, you will finally say, well, what's the use? And you'll just let everything go. And then the whole idea of having a life of honor, a life of integrity, a life filled with dignity and purpose, almost becomes a joke. It's something that people almost make fun of or joke about, as if it were a fantasy, as if it were, you know, an old style of thinking or something from the past, you see. And as a society, as a culture, as a world culture in general, and I say in general because general statements are never ultimately true completely. But so by generally, I mean for the most part, okay? So for the most part, societies in our world, and you don't need to be a scientist to look around and see this, are not living in honor. They're not pulling for raising honorable children to be honorable young men and women. They're not pulling for, in other words, they're not really even trying anymore to become an honorable society and live in an honorable world, a world that is for the good of all concerned. Obviously, there are people who are doing that, and there are people who are fighting for that or standing for that or devoting their lives to making that happen. I happen to be one of them, and yet it's out of the ordinary. It's kind of extraordinary. And so for those of us who are pulling for honor and integrity and mastery, who are standing for it, who are waving the flag and beating the drum of honor and integrity and mastery, who are putting out the call to honor, integrity, and mastery, we may seem like an unusual bunch. Like, many people are like, why would you do that? What's the point, right? Nobody cares about that anymore. And so sometimes we can be left with, oh, really, people actually don't even care about honor and integrity and mastery anymore. Well, I know that that's not true. Okay? I know that that's not true. I think that people only need to be reminded. And so consequently, I'm very optimistic about honor and integrity and mastery. We have about 30 men that are going to be in the Toronto workshop this weekend. Some of these men are coming from across the world to be there. Most of them are Canadians. We did the honor, integrity, and mastery workshop last 2 weeks ago in London. And there were men from 5 different countries that came there. And it was an extraordinary gathering of men. Most of them were Iranians. However, there were a few Brits that showed up. And 100% of those men that graduated from that course, this was a breakthrough course, 100% of those men registered into the advanced course. The honor, integrity, and mastery has 2 levels or 2 layers, if you will, 2 dimensions. And one of them is very personal, and it's about you, and it's about healing certain things in your life and making a difference with the people in your life, your children, your wives, your girlfriends, your mothers, the people that are closest to you, and healing those relationships in your life and healing yourself. So there's a lot of that takes place in that first workshop, so it's more personal about your life, right? But once your life is handled, once your life is like empowered, once your life starts to take on a certain direction, then your life becomes about something bigger than your own personal life. And when your life becomes something worth something bigger or about something that is bigger than your own personal wants, needs, desires, your own petty little needs and wants, once those things are satisfied and are no longer in the foreground but they're in the background, then, like if you're hungry and you need a place to live, that's in the foreground. You should be focused on that. So or if your relationship is in a breakdown, if you can't communicate with your wife or your husband, if you can't, if you're not having sex for 10 years, or your kids are taking drugs, those things are in the foreground, and you need to handle that. You need to take care of whatever needs to be done to take care of that. And so the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop is first about healing whatever's going on within the man himself that is keeping him from being effective as a husband, as a father, as a man. Not everybody's a husband and a father, obviously, so I don't want you single men to think that, oh, you got to be married or something. No, not at all. There's many single men that come to the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery workshop, and what's up for them, in other words, what's their major concern, it's not their wife and kids, because they don't have any. What's a major concern for them very often is, how do I be a better man? How do I be the best man that I can be? How do I be more successful in my career or job? How do I maintain my health? How do I win? How do I become the kind of man that I respect and that others would look up to as well? And how do I make a difference in the world? And ultimately, how do I become the kind of man that can have a high quality, high status, beautiful, sexy, fun, adorable woman in my life, if that's what you choose to have. So once those things are handled in the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop, your life becomes about something much bigger. And so the advanced course is about taking on your life and taking what your life is about out into the world in such a way that who you become known as is that. You know, you become known as the kind of person who has the purpose, whatever your purpose is. I don't give you my purpose. You're welcome to copy it and take it for your own. I don't care. I would like that. But you find the purpose of your own life. And then once you find the purpose of your own life, there's no stopping you. You know, you might run, of course you'll run into obstacles and oppositions and all kinds of things will happen. You know, once you find the purpose of your life, you'll find 1,000 reasons why that's going to be difficult, or that's going to be hard, or that's not going to be a good idea, or nobody wants you to do it. There'll be a lot of things like that. But once you know that deep down inside, that this is the purpose of your life, and that's really why you're here for, and you're empowered by a circle of men and women who know, respect, love, and support you, then there's just no stopping you. And so the advanced course of the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery is all about getting those resources in your life, getting past those obstacles that have held you back all your life so that they are no longer an issue. What used to be a mountain is now a molehill. What used to be a wall is now just a little stepping stone. So it's really getting past the obstacles in your life. So that's what I wanted to tell you about. That's where we're going to go do the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop this week in Toronto, this coming weekend. If you're watching this show and you're anywhere in the world and you can make it to Toronto, I urge you to get yourself into the Honor, Integrity, and Mastery Workshop. That's right. It's going to be August the 23rd through the 25th. And then there's another one. It's next year, February 7th through 9th. If you are in the Los Angeles area. However, this Toronto group, there's a bunch of men over there that I'm really excited. I can't wait to meet. And there's a bunch of graduates who already are in Toronto. And I'm supposing that the men showing up for this workshop, that's their friends. And so I'm really excited to come and meet those of you who are watching from Toronto this coming week. I'll be up there this week.